Hey guys, Cassie here. Welcome back to my channel. First things first, I'm sorry if the sound is a little not perfect in this video. I don't have a microphone on because I just wanted to film this really quick. Also, my cat is playing with the tripod, so you might get bumped a little bit. But I just had to flip on the camera to show you something very exciting. This is my proof copy. Hi, Gallifrey. You excited too? She's a little cone girl right now because she got spayed on Monday. So, but only a couple more days and then you get to be free. Anyway, this is my proof copy of my newest upcoming book called Moving On. Now, I haven't really talked about this book a whole lot on this channel. I think I did do some vlogs when I was writing it, but I haven't really talked about it in a while. But basically, it is the first book in a trilogy about Charlotte Benson, who is a young woman dealing with the death of her parents. She is moved to a small town called Greenwood with her aunt, who is her new guardian. And in this small town, she is dealing with, grief, the loss of her parents, moving on from that, hence the title, making new friends, having a new boyfriend. She starts dating a sweet small town farmer's son who is very dependable. He's very, he's the kind of person who's had his whole life planned out since he was born, and that's very attractive to her in the time at the moment because her life is so chaotic. She kind of leans into his structure and dependability. But when the town's resident billionaire comes back to town after a long sabbatical, things change in that department, and he starts to remind Charlotte of what her life used to be like with her mother. They used to go on all kinds of adventures and travel and were very interested in different cultures. And Ari, the billionaire character in this trilogy, is kind of more like lives a life more like the life that her and her mother used to live. And yeah, that's pretty much all I'll say about that. Moving On is the first book in the Greenwood Trilogy, so it's a little bit of a different thing, which I've been told by many people is gonna be terribly unsuccessful because it's not typical, but I liked this story the way it was, so I wrote it the way I wanted to write it, and hopefully it'll succeed, and if not, I'm happy with it. But basically, it is a romance trilogy, so you will get your happily ever after, but it will not be after the end of the first book, because that's not the end of the story. It is 3 books long, and there might be some cliffhangers in there. So, if you like things like small town romance, friends to lovers, a slow burn, this is definitely a slow burn. Is 3 books slow enough for you? It's like almost not even slow enough for me. I'm a huge fan of the slow burn. Age gap relationships. If you like a book that will make you laugh, cry, and swoon multiple times throughout the series, then maybe give it a chance when it comes out at the end of March. But first, you have to see what the cover looks like, because that's what I'm holding right now. And one thing that is really exciting about this, and also really nerve-wracking, is the fact that I made this cover myself. And this is the first time I've ever done this. I mean, I've made some covers, like I've practiced and played around with making a lot of different covers, but this is the first time that I've actually made one into a book and had it printed. So I'm very confident that I like the cover. I like the way it looks on my computer screen, but I'm just a little nervous that there is some potential that something might have gone wrong with spacing or sizing or whatever. So I'm really, really hoping that everything that's in this, I was gonna say bag, box, it's not a box, but this envelope, there we go, is up to my standards so that I don't have to go back and fix it and have another proof sent to me and, do this whole back and forth nonsense. I'm really, really hoping that it turned out good. So, we're gonna open it and find out. okay. Well, okay, mixed feelings. It's not very good quality, so that's a problem. You probably won't be able to tell from me showing it to you on the screen, but it's a little bit grainy, so I'm not sure about that. Especially the back is definitely, like, the words on the back, like the blurb on the back is not as sharp and clear as it should be. The overall design, though, everything is spaced nicely. The thing I was most worried about is the spine, because if it's just a little bit off, then it looks really funny, and that turned out good. So I'm going to show it to you, but yeah, I might have to try to figure out why it's coming out kind of blurry, but let me just show it to you. So this is the front cover. Obviously, the final copy will not have this band on here. That's just because it's a proof. So it's called Moving On by Cassie Beebe, Greenwood Series, Book 1. And I really, really love how this cover turned out. I think it's really beautiful. As I said, you probably can't really tell through the screen, but it's just like a tiny bit not as clear and sharp as it should be. But here's the part that I was really nervous about, is the spine. So if you get the spine at all wrong, then, you know, you can see a teeny tiny little bit of the top, the front cover on the spine, but I mean, it's barely anything. I was worried that if that was off at all, then it might come down too far, or the other way around. You might be able to see some of the spine on the front cover, which I would not like, but this is like such a tiny amount that I don't think I should have like made it a different size. I think it's just things are going to be a little off one way or the other in printing anyway. But yeah, there's the side. It says Moving On by Cassie Beebe with a little sunflower in the middle. And then the back, I have, you won't really be able to read it, but I have the blurb. There's like a quote at the top and some pretty sunflowers and the blurb, and then down here I have a little also by Cassie Beebe, and these are the next two books in the series, which are going to be coming out. I'm planning to have them release like a month apart from each other, so this book will be coming out at the end of March. Book 2 will be coming out at the end of April? Yes, March, April, and May. The third one will be coming out in May. So that's the book. I'm really happy with it. I mean, tell me what you think. I really like it. I think it's really pretty. It's not perfectly crisp and clear. So I will have to figure out why that is. But at least I know for sure that all the spacing is like good, and I don't need to worry about if the spine's gonna show up all weird or whatever. The only thing that's a little off on the spacing is these sunflowers up here are like just a tiny bit cut off the edge, which isn't really that big of a deal because that could have been intentional. It wasn't intentional, so I notice it, but it doesn't look bad necessarily. But I might move that down a little bit. But now let's look at the inside. I forgot about the inside. I'm not really worried about the inside because I used vellum, and vellum's really good, and I'm pretty sure it's gonna look good. So here's our title page, copyright and dedication, quote, everything looks good, and then these are our chapters, chapter 1. Yeah, everything looks good on the inside, as I figured it would. You guys, vellum is amazing. I am not a Mac user. I literally had to buy a Mac so that I could use vellum, and that's how worth it this program was. I went out and I tried it out on a friend's computer for a while, and I was like, I know it sucks to have to spend a bunch of money on a computer that I don't really need. I mean, I have a perfectly good laptop. I don't need a new one, but I need to be able to use vellum because it is so easy to use, and it just makes everything look beautiful and professional really easily. So it's well worth it. I just want to go to the end and make sure the back matter part turned out okay, because that was the only spot that I had a little bit of an issue with. Perfect! It did! It turned out perfect. Cool! Alright, well, that was a little bit of a like mixed feelings situation. I think it's really beautiful, and I'm happy that the dimensions and everything are correct. That makes me really happy, because that is the part that I would have just gone crazy if I had to try to figure out how to fix that, because I did not know how I was going to accomplish that. So that makes me happy. I can rest in knowing that, and then I just need to figure out why it's not good quality. So there you go. I don't know if I'm gonna put this video out right now. I might actually wait until, because obviously this book is coming out pretty soon. I'm gonna have to get this reprinted. I'm gonna have to figure out what went wrong and get it reprinted, and hopefully it'll be right next time. So maybe I will do that, get another proof copy sent to me, and then do an unboxing of that as well, and then I'll put that into this video right now so that you can actually see like the nice, clean, crisp version as well. Hello, it's me again. I literally just got home from work, so sorry if I look gross, but we have round 2 of the book, and I don't really have a lot of time to be filming this right now, but I didn't want to wait to open it, so this is what you're gonna get. So let's open it and see how it goes. First, I have to say, I know people will probably be wondering what I did to fix this problem, and honestly, I apologize, but I do not know well enough to be able to articulate to you what it is that we did to fix it. I'm very not tech savvy. I'm great with like design stuff, and as long as I learn a program, like I know how to use Canva, which is what I use to make the book covers and stuff, but when it comes to like certain file types and stuff, I just don't really know a lot about that. So my husband helped me a lot. I think we fixed the problem, but we are a little unclear on, there were like 2 different options of things we could try to fix it, and we did one of them. So if this doesn't work, we do have another thing in mind that we can do, but hopefully this will work. So I'm gonna open this and then show it to you. Okay, you guys, it looks good. It looks clear now. I don't know if you can really tell the difference in the video, but it is clear, clean, and under control. It is crisp and nice. The words on the back, you might be able to tell a little better if I show you that. You can read them clearly. You can see the little also by Cassie Beebe, which has the pictures of the other 2 books. It's a little blurry for you. I'll turn the camera around and show it to you in a minute. Oh, also, that's cool. So on the other book, I don't remember if I mentioned this, but it looked like these little sunflowers at the top were like cut off a little bit on the edge, and they're actually not on this one, which I don't know exactly why, because it shouldn't be. The dimensions should be the same, I think. You know what? Actually, I think the dimensions were a little tiny bit different on this one, because I couldn't get them to be 100% correct, but they were correct enough that Amazon still accepted it. So for some reason, that tiny bit of a change actually helped that part to look even better. So yeah, I'm really, really excited. So let me flip the camera around so I can show this to you properly. Alright, you guys, so here it is. This is Moving On by Cassie Beebe. I'll show it to you a little closer. It's nice and crisp. And then on the side, we've got Moving On, camera focus, and then a little sunflower and Cassie Beebe. I was gonna put a little 1 on top of the sunflower to show that it's like book 1 in a series, but I couldn't get it to look right. It just looked really stupid, so I decided to just not do that. And then we have the back. We've got the little flowers at the top, which again are not cutting off anymore, which is nice. Got a little quote from the book. I felt like a work of art, unfinished art perhaps, but sometimes that's the best kind. And then we have the blurb, part of which is covered up by the Not For Resale band. And then we have down here also by Cassie Beebe. These are book 2 and book 3 in this same series, so that when people buy this book, they are reminded that it continues. And that's what the covers look like for those 2 books. Yay! And then, you know, the inside I'm sure still looks good. Got the dedication page for my mother, my greatest supporter and lifelong friend. I was talking about how it's interesting that I haven't dedicated any of my other 2 books to my mother yet, because she is like definitely my greatest and longest supporter of my writing. And you know, I was homeschooled growing up, so she was my teacher, literally taught me how to write. So, but it ended up being really cool that I was able to dedicate this series to her, because a lot of this series is about Charlotte and her mother and their relationship, and they were very close, and so it's actually really fitting that this series is dedicated to her. So that was really a special thing that I got to do. And then I've got a little quote: "Keep your face to the sunshine and you cannot see the shadows. It's what the sunflowers do," by Helen Keller. And then we go in to chapter 1. And if you want, you can pause the screen and read the first page. You're welcome. So yeah, that is it, you guys. Thank you guys for watching this. If you have any questions about how I made this, or you want to see more of that process, I haven't done any videos like that about making book covers, because this is the first time I've actually made one into a book, if that makes sense. Like, I've made a lot of book covers just for practice, and they're just sitting on my computer. I'm probably never even going to use them. I've just been playing around to kind of learn the process. This is the first time I've actually made one of my book covers, and it is on this book right here. So if you want to see more about how I did that, or if you have any questions, let me know below, and maybe I'll make a video on that. I will say I do not have any plans upcoming anytime soon, really, to make videos. I do have one upcoming, actually, because I recently hired an editor for the first time, so I thought it would be fun to kind of film that process as I was doing it. That you have to look forward to, and you also have to look forward to this book, Moving On, which comes out at the end of March. So stay tuned for that. As always, if you want to follow my journey more closely, since I'm not posting on here very often, the best way to do that is to go to my website, cassiebeebe.com, and sign up for my newsletter, because that is where I kind of update people more regularly. Another place you can connect with me if you'd like, which I am on all the time, is my Facebook group called Sweet with Heat Romance Group for Writers and Readers. I'm pretty sure that's the title of the group. I'll post it in the description below, but basically it is a group for readers and writers of books that don't qualify as like clean and wholesome, because maybe there's some swearing, or there's like a racy scene or two, but they also don't qualify as steamy, because there's not that level of steaminess. And basically, I made this group because I don't read steamy books. I don't want to be recommended them. And I was just having a hard time finding any groups that are anywhere in between, like, tons of steamy recommendations or absolutely zero sex at all, and you can't even recommend a book that has, like, a swear word in it. So that was kind of difficult for me, because I don't like reading super steamy stuff, but I love romantic comedies that, you know, maybe people are swearing a bit, maybe there is a sex scene, and maybe there's even like a somewhat graphic sex scene, but it's just one or something, you know, like that's fine with me. So basically I just felt like every group I was joining, the recommendations were just on either side of the coin. Either they were just way too like wholesome and clean and super strict on what you're allowed to recommend, or if groups didn't have that strict rule against recommending anything with any level of steaminess, then basically all of the recommendations were always steamy all the time. And that's fine if that's what you want to read, but it's just not what I want to read. So basically I just felt like I didn't really have anywhere to go that was recommending the kind of books that I like. So I decided to make my own group where I'm in charge of what qualifies to be too steamy to be recommended in my group, so that I can kind of, you know, have a place for those middle ground people. And there are a lot of us out there. I've seen so many people asking what I've been asking for a long time, which is like, is there anything in between sweet and steamy? Because there's this whole category on Amazon with clean and wholesome where there are very strict rules if you want to call your book sweet and clean. They're very strict rules that you have to follow. You cannot cross these certain lines. But sometimes you cross a few of those lines, but you're not a steamy book. Like, crossing a few of those lines does not make your book qualify as steamy. So it's just stuck in the in-between. And that's a frustrating place to be sometimes, because you don't have that, like, automatic keyword to tell a reader, hey, my book is this. It's either steamy or sweet. It's like, well, it's neither of those. It's something in between. So I made Sweet with Heat. That's what we're calling it. And if that appeals to you, then check it out. I will leave a link to it in the description down below. So that is all, and I'll see you guys sometime soon with that video about me finding an editor, and hopefully that will be a helpful process for you guys to come along with. So, yay! So excited that this is done and that I don't have to go back to the drawing board again to try to fix it. It's all good, and that makes me so happy. I'm so confident in myself that I know I can make a cover that I like and that turned out like it looks like a real good book, and I'm very pleased. So, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.